Hello everyone, this is Devin Mahnke and I'm here to discuss New Heritage Doll Company and their capital budgeting decisions. So to give a little background information, Emily Harris is the Vice President of New Heritage Doll Company and she has two project proposals to review before an upcoming capital budgeting meeting. The first project is the Match My Own Doll Company. It's basically an expansion project on an already existing line. The second project is the Design Your Own Doll project. She has to do financial analysis and have a strong case built for one project because it's possible that the firm's capital budgeting meeting will decline both projects. So the Match My Doll clothing project, it exploits the current popularity of the existing line and it expands into like celebrity fashion styles so that kids can match their dolls clothing with celebrities and kids of famous celebrities and what they're wearing nowadays. This project is rated to have moderate risk, so it will have a discount rate of 8.4%, and it has a revenue growth rate of 8% starting in 2014. And on the right, you can see in Table 2 some of the outlays and expenditures for the project. Now, the Design Your Own Doll project, it's for girls that wants girls to have the ability to create dolls just like themselves. They want the children to be able to have the dolls in their own liking, just with many options as far as clothing, anything that the child may want. This project, it would be brand new, so it has a higher risk and discount rate of 9.0%, and it has a revenue growth rate of 6% starting in the year 2015. And on the right, you can see the table of initial expenditures. So now the base case given by the case and all the information in the packet, you can doing the cash flows, IRR, MPV, and like payback calculations. You can see that both projects have an MPV about the same. The difference in IRR isn't very different, and the payback isn't all that much of a big deal either. You can see the design your own doll has a much larger capital expenditures, but looking at just the base case, you can see that there really isn't too much of a difference. So further sensitivity analysis is definitely needed so Harris can decide which project is better. So from the base case and all the calculations, there wasn't really many factors that kind of changed the outcomes very dramatically, as much as the revenue growth rate. That seemed to be the most sensitive to the revenue growth rate than anything else. So I focused most of the sensitivity analysis around that. One of the major decisions I decided to do was push the payables to the suppliers out to 45 days after the second year for both, because that's kind of when it starts steadying out. That helps increase the NPV a little bit. And another reason I decided to go with 45 days for the days payable was in some personal research, I kind of noticed that seemed to be a relatively average days payable for suppliers. So I figured that would be a safe adjustment for the company to make. And then just changing around the revenue growth rates a little bit, starting by just dropping it by 1%, starting in that 2014 or 2015 for each project respectively. You can see there's a pretty huge drop-off in NPV. This is also with the 45 days payable changed. So for the Match My Own Doll, when you change the revenue growth rate down to by 1%, down to 7%, you can see the MPV is just barely positive. The internal rate of return goes under 10%. It's not necessarily a very profitable decision or project, but it's still at least above zero. And then now looking at the design your own doll, when you adjust it by less than 1%, down to 5%, I think it is, the MPV goes negative. So it's clearly not a good choice to go with that project if that's the case. But on the other hand, when each revenue growth rate is changed, like added by 1%, the the MPV for the design your own dowel definitely outdoes the Match My Dowel company, but this is where you kind of have to assess the risk. Playing with that revenue growth rate really helps get a better understanding of the riskiness of each project. And so with that in mind, I'd like to move on to the recommendation. So I recommend that Harris go with the Match My Own Dowel expansion project. This is primarily due to the fact that it's far less risky than the Design Your Own Dowel, and it has a lot better chance of a positive MPV. It's not necessarily, a hugely positive MPV, but still better than the Design Your Own Dowel if the revenue growth rate drops a little bit. And one of the reasons I didn't want to go with the Design Your Own Dowel is the revenue growth rate needed for that in the first year in 2013 would have to be up to 140%, which seems very risky and kind of unlikely. So I really didn't want to go with that option. And another reason I wanted to do my own dowel expansion project because it expands on an already popular line of dowel clothing that seems to be working out for the New Heritage Dowel Company so far. So thank you for listening, and I really look forward to further discussion on the topic. Thanks.